Hey guys, Foxy is trading here, back with another crypto video for you guys, and we are back talking about ICP. Now today's video is pretty much going to be just market structure, but before I talk about market structure and where I think price is headed, I do want to speak on one thing, which is this. A couple days ago we had a Cloudflare outage, right? I'm sure many of you were affected by it. Things weren't working, Twitter wasn't working, many websites weren't working. It was pretty annoying. However, ICP continued running. So when Cloudflare went down, most of the internet crashed, right? But ICP apps stayed online. The only users who had issues were the ones who apps still used Cloudflare DNS, okay? So domain names. Now, the blockchain itself didn't fail, right? So ICP's blockchain did not fail. This proves that ICP is one of the only networks that is truly capable of running 100% on-chain without relying on centralized infrastructure internet, right? And I think this is important for the future. I think massive companies are going to start realizing this, that we can't be having these outages. What if these outages happen for longer than a couple of hours, and they're going to start relying on decentralized places, right? So they're going to be looking at ICP. They're going to be looking at other crypto projects. So it's going to be very interesting to see if they will be integrated with any of these crypto projects like ICP into the future. Okay, so looking at market structure very shortly, we are down on the week pretty much across the board, down on price, down on market cap, down in volume, still 83% bullish on the community sentiment and pretty much on all the biggest exchanges, right? So looking at market structure, okay, let's break it down. Let's do a quick recap once again, very quickly, because I know you guys have been watching every week. So we had this massive resistance zone, right? You can see price tapped into it for multiple weeks before we got a closure above, and unfortunately we closed down below. Okay, so before that happened, what did we have in the market? We had liquidity here. Price swept liquidity right over here and pushed straight to the upside like liquidity does very often, right? We also had this weekly fair value gap where it closed below, retested before, and we know that now this is a strong zone. Now let's go a little bit into a shorter time frame, which is the 4 hourly. Okay, so what did I have drawn out? You know what, I'm gonna actually get rid of this so it's easier, and that one. Okay, so what did I have drawn out for you guys? I had this 4 hour fair value gap, right? And what happened was that we respected it a couple of times now, right? Over here, whoops, over here, over here, over here, over here. And now we got a little bit of a push to the downside. And the reason we got a push to the downside is because Bitcoin has massively dumped, right? It went down pretty much almost $10,000 in one day. So ICP was affected by that also. Now we are kind of holding this zone, and it would be fantastic if we do not close below it and we stay in it and eventually make our way to the upside, close above once again, and then propel to the upside, right? Yes, we are still going to have that support zone that we are going to have to reclaim, right? So we can see that these two zones are pretty strong. We have tested it here and we pushed to the downside. We are testing it here and we've been pushing to the upside. So it's kind of in a box right now, right? I would consider this a big box of where I think price is bouncing off of, because it's not quite sure where it wants to go just yet. Because if it breaks below, it will most likely want to give us further downside. But maybe the market makers don't want to see further downside, but maybe they're not ready for the push to the upside because the market hasn't corrected itself and it is still all red. And yes, ICP has been an outlier in the past where the market was absolutely bearish and we kept getting a beautiful pump on ICP. Now, maybe a lot of you have already sold ICP when it was at the top, when it almost hit $10. If you bought up when I said to look out for the liquidity sweep and go to the upside at $3, you would be up very nicely, right? 3 point something X So if you sold, honestly, congratulations. That was a good investment. That was a good trade. Now, another opportunity to buy up is now for everybody that is just getting started in crypto right now that is watching. This is a fantastic time. Your options are so huge. You have so many options at so many discounted prices. I keep saying it, but the market is really giving us Black Friday discount deals. And I know it's funny to say that when it comes to trading and investments, but it's really the truth. If you look at it, right, this is such a good discount price. Comparing it to what it was just in last year, December at $15, now we have $4, right? Just thinking about if it goes back to here, the gains will be fantastic. Right? So you want to use this period to buy up. Now, there is a couple of things that we need to watch out for, that we need to see for more confirmation, right? So obviously we had this massive expansion to the upside, and a lot of people get too excited and think this is going to continue forever. But the reality of the market is that the market will always correct itself. If you look to the left, market always corrects itself, right? You can see it. When there's massive expansion, there is usually massive correction. And you can see now we are in a correction phase, which does not mean, though, that we cannot see another continuation and even possibly a higher continuation, because that's what you want to truly be waiting for if you are bullish, right? So we need to start forming some higher highs. We formed this high right over here, right? And now we have formed a lower high followed by a lower low. So we are starting that bearish downtrend, right? So we need to start forming some higher highs. Now, obviously we are trending down. Even if you go onto the 4 hourly, right? You can see it very, very clearly, right? Very, very clearly. Bearish pattern to the downside. Everybody can spot that out. So we need to start forming some higher highs. Now on the 4 hourly, this is how I see it, right? We have this high over here. This would be my first hope of us pushing to the upside. Now there's another thing that I see right away when I look at price here. It is this imbalance in price. That price has already tested and pushed further down, right? So you can see right over here, price has tested it and it said, nope, I am pushing to the downside. So this would give me a lot of conviction that price will want to go up if we get a closure above it, because we're going to form 1, a higher high, 2, we're going to form above a zone that has been tested and respected by price. So that means that this can become a support zone once we close above. So if you want to be very safe and maybe not pull the trigger here because you're afraid maybe it'll go down to 350, you can wait for a confirmation here. And at 470, 460-ish, you can buy up and be more confident in your investment that it will shoot to the upside because there's confirmation in the market, right? So that is what we're going to have to be looking out for. Now, this high, and then I think once we break above this high, we will really start to propel, because all things will have happened, right? So higher high, close above the imbalance in price, maybe retest it, that'll become a strong support zone, another closure, and then just another propulsion to the upside. So that is what we're going to have to be looking out for. Now, what else can we look at, right? We can look at the RSI. My guess is that the RSI, it's going to be oversold. Ah, interesting. So we were actually overbought, and now we are starting to see a correction. So maybe a correction to the mid point and then a possible continuation to the upside. Interesting, because we did have this massive expansion. So yeah, it wouldn't make sense that we are slightly overbought. On the daily, however, you can see we are oversold, right? So if you're looking at it at a daily standpoint, you can see that a possible correction will possibly come very, very soon. And I believe that the altcoin season is close, and I think buying now for 2026 is a very strong sign. I think because Bitcoin has swept and it's been holding that 80 to 84K range, I'm really hoping that in the next couple of weeks, it's going to start pushing for the all-time highs. And I think ICP will follow. And I think ICP will be going for that $10 mark by the end of the year, possibly, right? If the things that I have marked out happen, right? So we get a closure of or a higher high, followed by a closure above the imbalance and another higher high, then the real test will be this resistance zone, right? We can see many times it has supported, so it'll be very interesting to see what price does when it gets into here. If it just breaks right through, you know that you are in a good direction to the upside, right? If it consolidates, goes down a little bit, well, then maybe price continues trading kind of between the $3.50 and the $6 mark, right? It might be trading in this box for the rest of the year until 2026 and the expansion will start, right? So it all depends on the market and what the market gives us. We always have to adapt to the market. We can't predict too much because not many people predicted this high of an expansion here, right? Yes, I did predict that we will go up after we sweep liquidity right over here, but I did not think that we are going to push straight through this resistance zone and just boom, skyrocket to the upside, right? There was not even really a day where we consolidated here, right? We got to this zone and we just closed right above the next day and just boom, skyrocketed to the upside. So that could most definitely happen in the next coming of weeks. Is there anything else we can have a look at? Maybe on the monthly. Nothing too interesting on the monthly, honestly. Weekly, daily. Yeah, so I think everybody knows my game plan now, right? I will be saying that these are just some fantastic prices to get in at right now. Not only ICP, but across the board, really. If you believe in crypto, if you believe in the crypto projects, if you understand what they want to do, then you know that these are some absolutely amazing prices. So buy up if you can. Just let it ride out, right? Don't look at it every day. Don't stress too much. Just chill. Enjoy your time. Enjoy your investment. If you believe in the project, it will bring you the returns you are looking for. Now, don't be looking for 100x. Let's be optimistic here, right? 100x on ICP, maybe in 10 years, maybe in 5 years, maybe in 4 years. I don't know. I won't be holding that long. I promise you that. I'll probably tell all you guys not to hold that long, right? We're gonna try to sell at the top. That is the game plan. Buy at the lows. The lows are now. Sell at the top. We will see where the top is, and then we'll go about more investments and reinvesting, right? So if you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like, comment if you have any questions, if you're holding ICP, if you believe in ICP, if anything I talked about you don't understand, if I need to break it down more clear, what imbalances are, what fair value gaps are, if you want to see more complex things like BPRs or order blocks, things like that, let me know in the comments below. And hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me. Make sure you guys do your own research because I'm not a financial advisor. And I'll see everybody in the next video.